All right, welcome back to another edition of the Dirty Verdict podcast. Before we introduce everyone, I'll just give you a quick little rundown. Obviously, every week we try to talk about legal news stories or interview interesting people or talk about different topic areas. This week we've had reality show stars. We've had plaintiff lawyers. This week we've got a combo. We've got former Bachelor contestant Erica Rose Sanders and her husband, who ultimately landed the Bachelorette, Miss Sanders, Chuck Sanders. We'll also introduce my colleagues, Bill Ogden, Kyle Herbert. Will take them down, and we're going to have a very interesting episode, so stay tuned.
That's going to be awesome.
You crushed that one, Peter.
Yeah, I probably sorry. You can probably edit some of that.
Yeah, we'll clean it.
We'll fix it in post.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Dirty Verdict podcast. I am one of your hosts, Peter Taaffe.
I am one of your other hosts, full-time litigator, part-time hair model, Kyle Herbert.
And I'm your third host, Bill Ogden, full-time litigator, and I make fun of Kyle all the time.
And we're going to, this obviously is a very special edition because Kyle is actually wearing a suit, and it's not.
I'm wearing, not only am I wearing a suit, but I'm wearing the bottoms to the suit, which you guys aren't, and people at home can't tell that.
That's fine. You actually, Chuck actually was thought about that first. He checked it out. He's like, huh.
I was like, weird, man.
I thought you were going to be wearing like an Angus Young suit. When you look down, it's like he is wearing the bottoms, but they're shorts.
So just keeping it spicy.
So Kyle shaved, and his hair is coiffed. So
Let's go real live boy.
There must be something special about this edition. So
we should save this one and let it out like on Christmas Eve. That's how excited we are for this one.
That's excellent. And I had a rare in-person mediation this afternoon, which is why I'm wearing a suit and tie with the pant collection as well.
And we am dressed the way I am because I'm a lawyer, and that's how we dress.
Because you're a professional.
Yeah, we are not sans culottes like the French. We are actually wearing culottes.
So our guests this week are Erica Rose Sanders and Chuck Sanders. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome, Sanders. It's
Thank you for having us.
So as I alluded to in the opening, we've had Washington Ho, who is not a lawyer, but hires a lot of lawyers, and he's a reality star. I guess now a real estate guy since we had him come on. We've obviously had a lot of plaintiff lawyers, family lawyers, mass tort lawyers. But this week we've got a combo of all of those things. So thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks for having us, and it was so nice meeting you recently.
Right. Yeah, so we met at a dinner party last week, and some of the other former guests, Will Moy, Mike Strike, Andrew Kobos were there, and we were talking.
Geez, actually invite
Yeah, what
Peter.
kind of dinner party was this?
What did you do?
I'll say one of the people I mentioned hosted it, and I was invited. Or as I said at the time, I was happened to be walking by and saw Gleeful.
What night was this?
It had to be Will Moy.
It was Tuesday night.
Oh, that's me and Bill play canasta Tuesday night. We had a league and everything, so don't even bother inviting us out.
Well, yeah, I think you were invited.
You were canasta. What is that? It's a card game for old ladies and me and Bill.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So it's like Bunko.
Yeah, no skin off our nose, right? We had a good time Tuesday night anyways.
Yeah, I like winning.
Whatever. Yeah, I was sitting next to Erica and Chuck and said, would love to have you come on, and they were gracious enough to come on. And particularly, it was good because their office is only like a block away from your office at home.
Which I had no idea. The three of us are best friends from now on.
Is that we're neighbors? Yeah,
You guys are just a tripod.
Yeah. Kyle runs out of ice a lot, so if he come over and gets ice from y'all's off,
Erica, can I borrow 3 eggs?
Yeah. So y'all are both your parents are medical doctors, is that right? Both your fathers?
Yes, they're both surgeons.
Yeah. Okay. So did either of y'all have any interest in going into the medical field at all?
I was actually told not to be a doctor from a very young age.
Got it. Erica?
I did have an interest at one point, but I kind of followed my brother into the legal profession.
Got it. And your brother's name is Ben?
Yes.
And Ben and Andrew were partners for some period of time. So Ben had been a lawyer before you started law school?
We started at the same time. Like he was studying for his LSAT for about a year. And we were up in Aspen over the Christmas holidays. And I was working as a page at Paramount Pictures, which was a really good job, but I didn't feel like that at the moment. So I decided to kind of copy him, apply to law school, like that trip. And then I went back to LA, studied for my LSAT for a couple weeks. The deadline I remember being in February. And I ended up back in Houston at the time.
You were working as a what?
A page. Do you guys know what that is?
Tell the audience.
Okay, did you guys ever watch that show with Tina Fey?
Yeah.
You remember the weird guy that wears like the uniform
Yes.
and the tie? That's a page.
Kenneth?
Yes.
Yes.
Why do you know that?
I know everything, Bill. Ask me a question.
No, between me and my little brother, we know everything on the planet. Try to stump me. Any question, it can even be personal. Try it.
Did you work on any shows? Or were you just... Okay.
It was funny because I worked as a page on the Dr. Phil show and then later was a guest on there, which isn't exactly bragging rights anyway.
That's it. So, none of us have been guests on the Dr. Phil show. So
That's not 100% accurate.
You've been on?
Well, not as a guest, but as I gave commentary. It wasn't live and I wasn't in studio.
Okay. All right. Well, I have not been a guest then.
Yeah, Hector Campos episode. Google it.
So so you decide to go do that. I kind of almost on a whim a little bit.
Yeah, I was out with one of my friends in the evening and she was an actress, but she had been working at an entertainment law firm. And she was saying how she feels like we could do that. It's not that complicated to be an attorney. So we were just like, let's do it. And that's what we did.
John, and so your friend also, did she go to law school as a lawyer now?
He's an attorney now in LA.
Doing entertainment law?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know what? As entertainment content providers at the Dirty Verdict, maybe we need entertainment lawyer counsel.
That's true. And her name is Katie. What's her last name?
Friend's name is Katie Stewart.
Okay. Well, we'll call Katie up.
All right.
We hit it big.
Case 2, we might need you someday.
Okay. And Chuck, how about you? Take us through your winding road to entering law school and being a lawyer?
For a while, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I was like working at my dad's office, and he has a unique job. He has a unique type of doctor, as in, like most of his practice, like 60% of it is like letter of protection cases. So he works with plaintiff lawyers, and he'd been doing this my entire life. And a lot of the times I didn't even realize what he was doing. And then, I don't know, then I was sitting there, I was like, that's a good idea. Maybe I should be a plaintiff lawyer. He's like, yeah, that's great. Yeah. So that's kind of how I decided what I wanted to do.
What part of town did you grow up in?
In West U.
Okay.
I think a couple blocks away from, maybe like a mile away from here.
And then I see the ring. Is that, what ring is that?
That's A&M.
The Texas A&M.
Fighting Texas Aggies.
Yep.
How about you, Erica? Where'd you go to college?
I went to Emory University.
Oh, very good.
That.
Very good.
Wow.
Okay. Did y'all know each other growing up with your dads both being physicians?
We did.
High school? Where'd y'all go to high school?
I went to Kincaid and then Memorial High School.
I went to the very prestigious Houston Learning Academy.
Okay.
Here we go.
You say that with a little tinge of sarcasm, so I'll ask, is Houston Learning Academy like remedial?
No, it wasn't remedial. It was more like if it didn't work out in public school for whatever reason, we're gonna let you come to our school
And you can learn it.
and you're gonna graduate.
Perfect.
And like I said, I was number 2 in a class of 7 people. I got into every college I applied.
Let's face it, though, you were in the top third of your class. Quick math.
I was a salutatory.
Did you have to give us, hey, did you do a speech?
Did you give a speech?
No, I could.
Friends, parents, distinguished guests? The 4 of you?
Do you have an idea of how colleges will accept you automatically if you're that high in your class? It doesn't even matter what my test score is.
I know, you're number 2.
Kyle does not know.
Class 7, they don't know that.
Kyle is unaware of that. He doesn't know what it's like to be that high.
That's exactly right.
Number 2 in class of 7. Remember that, everybody.
Yeah, I just remember number 2. I didn't get the last part.
And so did y'all knew each other growing up or no?
We did.
We knew each other through mutual friends, but we weren't really good friends.
Okay. And then so Erica, after Emory, is that when you entered into the Bachelor universe?
Yeah, when I was 23.
Okay. So what drew you into that? You just someone making an application?
Actually, it's kind of funny because my first job out of college was being an entertainment reporter on a show called Wild About Houston. But the funny part is it was on the network at the time, Channel 55, was owned by Lakewood Church. And the reason that's interesting is my office right now is right next door to Lakewood Church. So it kind of circles back. And
Lakewood Church had a show called Wild
About Houston. It was Don Iloff is Joel Osteen's brother-in-law, and he was running Channel 55, which was called The Tube at the time. And the host of the show was Lara Bell and Jan Glenn. And so they had me as the entertainment reporter. And they called me the Wild About Houston film diva, which shows how dated it was. And it was funny because at the time, the segment was sponsored by attorney Steve Lee, who does personal injury. So I just think it's fun. It's a funny full circle moment, not happy for me. But anyway, and so that was my first job. And I thought going on The Bachelor would be a way to do entertainment reporting nationally. And so that's how it happened.
Joel and Victoria, we are looking for a sponsor. If you guys are interested.
Stop there. There's no way out there. That's not sponsoring you.
So, and remind us the season you're on. Who was the Bachelor?
His name is Prince Lorenzo Borghese, and he was actually at our wedding.
Good.
Is he a real prince?
Yeah.
Well, this is back when the Bachelors were actually Bachelor worthy. Now they'll just find like some. I saw one, and the guy was like an insurance adjuster for Allstate, and then I saw one, and this guy was like a real loyal prince. I forget his real guy.
I forget his name, but one of the contestants on a show, and I saw it in passing, and it just said as his job title was Aaron Rodgers' brother. I was like, I mean, that's my fault. I mean, you got a great shot at this, Kyle. You should get in.
Jim Henson's third cousin.
Yeah. You could be on season 20.
I'm on it.
You couldn't be on seasons 1 through 8.
I don't know that it's for me.
I don't know what it is.
So, Ika, how far did you go?
I was there when there was only 3 other people left.
Did they do hometown dates or come to Houston?
Yeah, they did. But the real hometown date, I guess, was when he came to our wedding. And that was exciting. So I'm sad because he hasn't like kept up the friendship.
Hey, so what? A French became to my wedding once. What am I going to call a guy that's a real? I was asking her about this last night. I was like,
You call him your honor or your highness.
what do I say to a person that's pure loyalty, pure royalty? Do I say, hey man, what's up? Like, how's it going? Like, what am I?
I think you say, here, good sir.
Yeah. I've been to the Renaissance Fair.
I'll play him.
Oh, it went on Saturday.
I've been to the Renaissance Fair, so I mean, I don't know what you say to them, but I know what I said to the people at Renaissance Fair. I was like, you're not a real king.
26 pence for this water?
Yeah, all this kettle corn is amazing, but I don't think it makes you royalty.
So he's a prince in what?
Well, now he's engaged, and he was, and so I wanted.
He was the bachelor like
I know.
a while ago.
Well, but I wanted us to be invited to his wedding. But once you're married, it's kind of up to like him. I feel like to keep up that friendship.
Okay.
And so recently, I was telling him like, you dropped the ball on that, babe.
Yeah, for all of us. I was hoping to get an invite too.
We could have been like,
What was I supposed to say to him? Like, did anybody have like, yeah, but like, it's hard to make conversation with somebody that's royalty for God's sake.
yeah. You could be like
Royalty.
You could be like, you're 2 hemophiliacs away from being the king of something.
I feel like you FaceTime him, you got to put a bow tie on if you're going to FaceTime him.
Well, what country is it?
So he's from the Borghese family in Rome. To be fair, if you ever go back to Rome, you'll see like Rue de Borghese, Borghese Park, like all of this stuff that is his family. They're descendants of a pope. So he's not just like it's actually legit. We kept up our friendship for a long time, and it's like there's evidence to back it up. That's all I'm going to say without being like tacky.
Let me ask these guys, since they've got computers at their hand. I thought popes were supposed to be celibate and like
Not in Italy. Not in Italy. You do whatever you want.
when popes could like have kids and have heirs and all that.
I think what Peter's trying to say is that the Roman Empire never fell and just became the Catholic Church. Is that what you're trying to say, Peter?
No, you're like 10 steps ahead of me. I'm just gonna like it's like a 12-year-old guy.
My understanding was they were supposed to be celibate as well, but it could be like an uncle.
It was like that type of.
Okay.
So they gave them the title, but they have the finances to back it up. So it's not. That's why it's fun. It's not. I know for a fact it's legit. Without sounding tacky.
I didn't realize that being loyal, like, you had to have a substantial wealth to back that. I had no idea until a few years ago.
Being a king is not cheap.
I don't.
Crowns and robes and all that. It costs cheddar.
If you do get invited to the wedding, if somebody picks up the slack here and gets us invited because we're going as a crew,
Yeah.
do we get to wear those funny hats that I always see?
The pope hats?
No, what? I don't think you wear those to weddings. No, like the royal wedding.
Oh, you mean like that the ladies wear?
Yeah, or I mean, how do you know how they identify?
Because I'm personal friends with Fergie.
That's fair. Okay, so besides The Bachelor, you're on some other shows as well. Which ones?
Oh my! There's been so many. Oh God! but it's on my Wikipedia.
Give us your favorite Wikipedia page.
Google me. In my way that everyone does this.
Can we do it this way?
It's funny that like when I turned 40, I was so upset thinking like, oh my God, it's on Google. But actually, besides for me, I do this to everyone, not just myself, of course. But so I felt like there's no hiding my age. But I'm so surprised that other people, besides for me, don't like Google each other all the time to find more things out about people.
We are extreme Googlers, but we have to ask for the audience.
I feel like at this point we need to make a Google page for each of us personally.
Oh, y'all have a wedding anniversary coming up.
We do, right? 7 years.
Wikipedia. Boom. Okay, so hold on. So there ones. So Peter asked,
Fun.
What other shows you bet on? And the list is too long. Let's do it this way. What was your favorite and what was the worst?
The favorite, besides, I enjoyed my time on The Bachelor, and then also a show we did on because there was other females on VH1 called You're Cut Off. It was really growing. I did that in law school, but I don't really have a bad experience, to say the worst.
You were on the Ellen DeGeneres show?
Yeah.
That seems kind of cool.
That was my like life goals, kind of like iconic moment, but I didn't realize it at the time because you never feel like it was really cool. And she was so nice.
Really? That was my next question, because she's kind of gotten a bad rap a few years back from her staff.
She was really kind to me personally, even in between takes, and that's how I judge people when the camera's not around. But I will say something funny is her staff, for real, was already complaining about her back then, I swear. I was like, what's she like all excited backstage, and they were kind of saying, like, she doesn't talk to us, and sort of they were already putting out that vibe.
What did she do to her staff?
I don't remember. I just remember it came out.
Yeah, it's like a lot. She was mean.
Very unpleasant to work for. That's kind of the gist I got from it. But
Everybody in my law firm really enjoys working for me.
that's how he says it to his firm when he says, if anybody asks you, this is what you say.
Idiots.
okay.
Don't talk to
So Erica, just a quick question. I know you've been asked these questions multiple times. Do you feel like the editing is fair, or do you think the producers have a story and then they just kind of cut it the way they want to, and you really don't have a say in it?
The latter, but I will say that they kind of gave me a heads up about it while we were taping The Bachelor, because there's a lot of downtime. And it was sort of the impression I got, you can like play along with this and act this way, and then we'll all have fun together, which I did. Otherwise, you'll probably get the same edit and you won't really be partaking in it, and you wouldn't like that. But to be fair, there were other girls that didn't do that, and you probably wouldn't notice them if they were there, and they were just really trying to have the best genuine experience. So there is that. I realized we were making a television show and I wanted it to be entertaining. So.
Good. And you were obviously one of the stars, and that's why they brought you back on so many different.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. As time goes on, it really does feel like a different life, but not in a I do miss a lot of the fun moments for sure. Regular life isn't as fun, except having children is a lot of fun.
Yeah. How many kids do y'all have?
I have 2 daughters, and we share one together. Well,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Okay, so total.
We have two daughters.
Got it.
An 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Nice. Okay. Very good. And there was one show, Chuck, you were in, the Below Deck, or
Yeah, I mean, we went on it. So basically, it's a show where it's supposed to be about the yacht crew. So without talking too much, 'cause I don't want to spend too much time on this to everybody, but I'll say this. So you go on the yacht, and they wait on you. And then you like experience a time on like a sailboat that's just traveling around the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a nice boat.
Yeah.
But it's not like, wow.
Yeah. And it's not the Titanic or anything like that.
And the whole, and like, I guess the whole thing about the show is like, at the end of the time, you're supposed to get the tip. So you're supposed to tip these reality TV stars. Like they want to act like they're really, like, and number one, you have to pay $5,000. We have to pay $5,000 a person to go onto the boat.
A person.
Wait, so they paid for your...
No, we paid our...
You paid them to be the talent?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
That or Below Deck?
we didn't find out until afterwards, but we didn't get paid from HBO for the Alex Jones documentary.
That's CMRA. So you pay to go on the boat. So immediately I'm thinking, I'm $10,000 in on this for 2 seats. It better be good.
And then they're like,
So they better come up through with Dom Perignon, and they better serve me filet mignon, and it better be like fancy because I just paid you $10,000. Yeah, it worsens. So in addition to this, you're supposed to fork over. I think what would have been a good tip in their mind, and there's all kinds of articles about how bad our tip was too.
Take the word "how" because it was really the year before with friends. It just wasn't.
Okay, I like to. So my $6,500 to reality TV stars for not even 48 hours on a boat, I thought was like a good tip. I walked up thinking I tipped them; they'd be happy.
you want to know if 6,500 for tonight?
Time out.
How critical people are with other people's money on TV.
I feel like I have to address the elephant in the room. And I'm assuming, Amanda, Josh, have you explained the tip policy to our guests? Yeah, we require it.
Thank you, thanks, Webby.
Just letting you know in advance where there are going to be some cash exchange.
I will write great reviews on 6,500 for tonight.
Yeah.
I'm throwing that out there.
There are 6,500 bones, and me and Bill do some stuff.
So the longer we spend time talking about this, the less efficient and effective this podcast is.
All right.
You will his Alex Jones.
Oh, yeah. She wants to hear about your Alex Jones reality TV show.
Sharon's documentary. That's on, I guess it's called Max now, HBO Max.
Is it streaming on other platforms?
I think you can pick it up on like Hulu, anything that HBO's partnered with, but it's called The Truth versus Alex Jones. And that was pretty cool.
By the way, it's not his, it's ours. I
did it together.
No.
Kinda.
Well,
Kyle had a cane.
I was recovering from knee surgery, and so there's 2 or 3 scenes where I'm in the very far back, hobbling across like Yoda.
You should get an IMDb page, man.
We're gonna add it to my Google and my wiki. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, that came out, last year?
Yeah, like early last year.
Don't you have some other stuff in the hopper as far as documentaries? Or is that all?
I mean, we did one for Oxygen I've done 2 for Oxygen and 1 for BBC Television for kind of various cases.
Were you on the Hallmark Channel for something?
No, that was Billy Zane.
Oh, shoot.
I get that a lot.
My bad.
Yeah, the bald Bill Ogden. Sorry, wait.
Billy Zane from The Phantom.
I don't want to interrupt Peter's interview, but I have a question. Do you guys think your experience with the media, reality TV, stuff like that, do you think it helps in your legal career? Like, do people know you, know your face, bring in clients that way? Is it an asset? Because I could see it going both ways.
I mean, it does go both ways. I mean, like, more people will know about you. Like when the show first aired, I remember getting an email on my Google, My Business, saying that you are now trending on Google.
Okay.
So that was cool.
That's great.
But I mean, Instagram, like, people are really, 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 really strong and really brave when they're behind their self.
For sure.
So like there would be all the press you get, and like, because we did have like a really, really good digital marketing one, like all kinds of leads from all over the state, and it was great. But the backlash you get when you just go to like post a picture of your kid onto Instagram, it's probably not worth it. If I had to give everyone advice, like other lawyers, I'd say don't do it.
Don't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, don't.
Well, you didn't know that. I mean, it's not like you did the reality stuff. You became lawyers after the reality stuff, right?
That was my path, but when we went on Below Deck together, we're lawyers. Yeah, and I had gone on the trip the summer before with some of my girlfriends.
Did you get to practice any maritime law?
He did talk about it.
Our channel is not going to inherit.
Yeah.
They always cut the good stuff. I've learned that now.
Okay.
You learned it.
Well, they cut all my interviews.
It was just that I think I was just saying that I was like, I think you would qualify as a seaman. That's all I said.
I think that's one.
Clever as he's 6 months on offshore.
100%. Yeah. A third of his job is in furtherance of the ship's mission.
You're doing good legal work there.
So, Damiel's law firm is what?
Rose Sanders Law.
But we're thinking about rebranding.
To what?
I don't know, like...
You can use trade names now. Dragon Law Firm is still on the table if y'all want that one.
Because for our wedding, we're Cherica. So I'm Chuck and she's Erica. So she put Cherica in her. But here, our wedding logo was cherries. So we were talking about yesterday, maybe we want to incorporate a cherry into the law firm logo.
We were thinking about being file or kill. We're still working out some of the details with our marketing folks.
No.
Yeah. But I like Cherica. I think that's kind of awesome.
There's a friend named Cherica, and she's actually a female. It's a male.
Hire a real person named Cherica.
We met studying for our bar exam, and that's her real name. But but she spells it with a K. And then I told her about our wedding hashtag, and she was like, I always was wondering who that Cherica was. And that's how we met. But that's her real name, like Cherica.
You got to hire her.
What's it like working together?
It's really stressful. I find it to be really stressful personally. And it's hard because I had started my own practice before he was even a lawyer. And then it was his idea to work together. And he felt like the reality TV background I had could be beneficial in terms of SEO and all that. It was at the time, I would say, because there was a lot less of like social media influencing and all that stuff, and I had as
Now, not as much because social media has gotten so big. Because like when we first started, it was smaller. It was easier. But now it's just so big. Like,
Yeah, everybody's making funny TikToks and
every little deal out there. Everybody's making videos. It was easier to do when we were the only ones doing it.
for sure.
definitely. And then with the below deck stuff, I feel like I don't know. That was hard. He wanted to do.
Oh, we agreed not to discuss below deck anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. But working together is challenging because I think that partnership lines, and from his things he would do, if we were not married, he wouldn't normally do them, like signing my name onto official documents without telling me. That's crazy. Like, I don't think, would y'all do that with your business partners, or is that something people do?
And I'm not going to confirm nor deny whether that's kind of a regular practice, right? But
It's also, it depends on, it's challenging sometimes, and sometimes where that line between partner, where does that end, and where does line between your husband and wife and partner, law partner. So it gets challenging.
I think it's cute and adorable that you guys are fighting about as business partners, signing each other's names, because one of the qualifications to work here is you have to be able to forge my signature. So people come into my office, they say, sign these, and I say, what do I pay you for?
yeah, it's malpractice is what he's admitting to.
It's a
victimless crime, Bill.
it's a very common thing.
But what about when it's funding cases?
All right, enough.
Do y'all, so y'all's practices are slightly different, correct? Different areas of law?
Yeah, but everything that Q does, I do too. Like, she just doesn't really get down and dirty in the car accident. She brings them in, but she doesn't get down and dirty.
I definitely don't.
And when it comes to the family law, she's always the one getting down and dirty. I just do a lot of the drafting and just help out.
Right. So that's what I was going to ask is are y'all able to kind of work on stuff and kind of spearhead it together on different projects?
Yeah, once we work together, that's probably the time when we probably get along the most. Is when we're actually when we're really working together. We each have a different task and we have a different job that we're doing here.
I got you.
Now, when we work on family law cases together, I feel like it's a good thing.
Yeah, we do a good job because she's more it depends, especially if it's a male client where we're really good because Erica will tell her something and then I'll have to talk to him after and be like, yeah, you should do that, man, from a guy's perspective. So and vice versa with the other sex. So it really depends on the client. But ultimately, Erica loves family law and she likes to help people and coach people. So she likes it because you get to coach people.
Yeah, what is it about family law that drew you there? Because it terrifies me in every shape, form, or fashion.
Well, it's because you don't like families.
I love families. Family Guy, the Huxtables.
That's what Bill Cosby.
Waltons.
Yep.
Yeah, what drew you to family law, Erica?
Well, it was something I was into for even before I had children, so it definitely wasn't just because of that.
Wait, who's watching y'all's kids right now?
Honey, do you need her name?
No, I just wanted to make sure we hadn't.
They're on the caller. Her name is a week. Yeah, she's amazing, and I'm so grateful for her. But she doesn't spend the night or anything. She picks them up from school, and then she's available until around when they go to bed, 8:30, 9. We normally get home earlier than this, but it's nice to have that option so we can do things.
Yeah.
Like working and other stuff.
When did y'all start the firm?
So I started in 2019, was it 2019 or 20? I first got a job at Homesteads in Sadler, and then at the time, I liked it there. And then I started my own practice. Then it was just called, I didn't know what to name it, so I didn't ever like the name, but it was just called the Erica Rose Law Firm. And then when we became partners, that's when it was Rose Sanders.
Y'all started, y'all hit the ground running right in COVID.
Yeah.
So everything were y'all working from home predominantly, or were
Actually was going to the office, but it's funny because she also has an LLM in entertainment media law.
Yeah.
And she wants to practice an area that she learned about so she was like, defamation, and she was like, it's personal injury technically, the reputations are hard. I'm like, yeah. So we were getting a lot of telephone calls of people with like the stupidest situations, like someone's talking trash about them on the internet or something like that. And I was hanging up for the first, 2 or 3 months. I was like, man, maybe I could help these people. So I figured out a system and make a little bit of money too. I was like, well, so how can I make money? So I was doing cease and desist letters for $500, and I was doing defamation mitigation demands, like requests for retraction, correction, or clarification for $1,000. And during COVID, those things were selling so much.
Really, people had nothing else to do.
Because and that's what happened. Not anymore. Like it's hard for me to even get someone to pay for their consultation. I always say it says on your website free consultations. Like that's for not.
it sounds like we need another stimulus package.
But like people had a lot of extra cash like laying around to pay a lawyer. $1,000 for a letter.
I spent all mine on cigarettes, but do what you want,
The funniest.
Hey, go ahead.
One funny time was during COVID. Someone came in for a divorce consult, and I do turn people down because she legit wanted to divorce. She wanted to divorce her husband based on, I guess, how he spent the stimulus package, and he was home, because he couldn't go to his actual job, so he was just really annoying her a lot by having to be there in person.
I'm sorry, Nick.
And
Oh, wait, this isn't you.
No, not me.
Oh, she's...
have you guys ever been married?
I have.
Yes.
Kids or no kids?
I'm not paying for this consult.
To ask questions about how old.
My son will be 10 on Sunday.
Happy birthday. Well, what are you guys doing?
He and I are going to Cabo on Saturday because he's got Thanksgiving break coming up.
How do you feel about adult adoption?
It's okay. I got a few of them out there.
Because I'd love to go to Cabo.
Bring it on. Kyle, Erica would like to know how old your children are.
I've been asked not to discuss my children on the podcast by my daughters, but I have 2 daughters and a son.
Which one's your favorite?
13, 11, and 6 months. And my favorite is none of them. No, they're all just like the best kids.
And which Caribbean destination are you going to take them to for their birthday?
I offered to fly them to Kansas City. They're not super excited about it.
Kansas or Kansas City?
Kansas City, Jamaica.
Kansas City, France, buddy.
Gotcha.
They actually have listened to this a couple of times, and their commentary back to me on listening to the podcast just is the funniest thing in the world. So they're wonderful.
Okay, so Erica, Holmes, Diggs & Sadler, which is a very well-regarded family law firm here in Houston. So that's where you started and then decided to go out on your own. We ask everyone that this decision to go out on their own, why they did that.
Well, it was a decision because I had at the time the daughters that are now 6 and 8, which is crazy to me. They were 2. I went to work there when Aspen, that's our daughter that's 6, was 2 months old, and my daughter Holland was 2. And I learned so much in 6 months, but I honestly wanted to spend more time with them. So it was definitely a scary decision, but also I felt like it was the right decision because at the time it was a really good way to use the online presence that I had established through those years of reality TV and just dealing with all the stuff that comes along with it. So it was a good way to make use of that. But it was definitely scary to do that. And it was really nice working there and learning a lot. But when he decided to come and work with me, that was nice. And then we kind of had, we were trying to figure out how to merge both of our practice areas. And that's still kind of a struggle for some reason. I don't know what you guys think.
I can see it being extremely difficult just because it's completely different. Yeah, for every...
One has a lot of client interaction, one doesn't have that much.
And that's what I don't like about it, to be honest with you, is I like the client interaction. I know whenever I tell people things, they're like, wow, you've done too many things. But I am 41 years old, so I have my life coach certification also. All this is legit.
You've been looking for a life coach.
Do you have a life coach website?
No. So I got it. I have my degree from the Life Coach Institute of Orange County. But I feel like I don't know if I should do that separately. What do y'all think? Or just keep up with it through family law?
I would do separately because the practice of law has certain regulations and scope, and then this life you want to,
Like you just hire me, like
For tax purposes, you can run the pass-through company as a life coach, not a lawyer. So
okay, well, that's not legal advice or tax account advice for Bill Ogden.
I would probably say,
But I think it's good to keep things very separate.
what would you guys call it? Since you guys are good at naming.
I think it would be tough to, I used to have a bunch of partners, and one of our problems was some people want to do personal injury, some people want to do employment law, some people want to do commercial litigation, some people wanted to, actually not work a whole lot. Shut up, Bill. Don't get me sued again.
I didn't say anything.
But it's hard, right? It's a different calendar. It's a different type of support staff. It's a different type of line of credit.
Different, and exactly. And he was
It's a way different amount of risk.
So what did you end up doing about it?
I fired my partners. I fired one of my partners, then I bought another one out, and it was completely amicable except for the one that I fired. So we just got on down the road and started making money on our own.
That doesn't help.
Well, I can see it being difficult.
But you guys don't fire each other. You're in love.
Well, I was going to say,
You can still be married and not be business partners. Like for me, I think that's the biggest difference between us is I really differentiate it. And I know everyone can't personally do that. But I feel that we have a separate partnership agreement. It's when he joined the partnership, then we created a new one. And like that's there for a reason. It's not the same marriage contract that we signed.
Have you talked to a life coach about this?
I've consulted with myself about it.
I can see, the risk from the two different areas is very different too, because one, on the plaintiff side, we're dumping in our own money into cases for a future, expectation versus family. It's coming in up front.
And that's the good
retainers and stuff. So I could see
See, another side of that is sometimes there's a lot more work to be done in a family law case than in like a car accident that you settle in claims for policy limits that's a minimum limit.
Yeah, that you spend 45 minutes on. Right. And so I can see that too.
And the repercussions, okay, you lose the PI case, everyone that you already had to deal with isn't going to get paid. It's, you mess up a divorce, you can mess up someone's custody.
Yeah, I'm not good enough to argue over children or freedom, so I stay in the plaintiff's world.
She's good at it.
No, I agree. I sit on my hat.
There's one thing in Texas when you calculate their schedules, where it's like they get them on the 5th, 4th, or something of the month, and then like if there's a switch in the calendar, it changes. It's so convenient. I don't understand it. She does.
My ex-wife and I agreed early on that she would have the kids 5th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, and 1st weekends.
I think that's complicated. I feel like it makes it way too complicated.
do you get a lot of late night calls, emails from people like, hey, he was supposed to drop them off at 7 p.m. and it's never.
It happens frequently. Sometimes they make calls, so she'll tell you.
The favorite times is when people think, I think it's a favorite time.
All the cops are on each other because they're late. But
I try to, actually the good news is when my clients do listen to me, which is the clients that I'll stay with, if they don't listen to me, then obviously I can't represent them. But when they actually do listen, they end up getting along really well with the other parent. They stop calling the police on each other all the time unnecessarily just for like showing up at gymnastics practice and little things like that. And honestly, the chaos has calmed down. They can I prefer to settle everything in mediation and work together with usually the other attorneys sometimes, especially when they're males for some reason, want to be contentious. I don't know why. But in mediation, if you have a good mediator like the former Judge Wells, he's an amazing mediator, love him. But we're able to, I've done an entire divorce with children in an afternoon mediation and figured out really complex custody situations where people had different lawyers before me because it's not about fighting. It's really about working together to get along. And I myself have been through this situation before we were married. I have another daughter, as I mentioned, and her dad lives in LA, and he's a divorce lawyer. So that was a really fun custody battle to deal with. Just kidding. But now the good news is we get along really well, but it's definitely taken some time. And so through that experience of living through it and realizing what, even if you're both lawyers and you can fight till like the cows come home or whatever, it's not what's best for the kid, for your child or for your mental health or just for anything. So I feel like I'm not just lecturing my clients. I'm really coming from a place of having been through it, lived through all the emotions that they're dealing with, dealt with all the anxiety, the fear. Like when my clients cry or whatever they do, that's all okay with me because I've been there. And it really helps a lot. And I only share that with people, like with my clients, when it's applicable. Of course, if it's just a divorce without kids, I'm not going to tell them all that.
The empathy, not sympathy. I can see that being an asset in that area.
Now, Peter, you and Diane are still married, but she continues to call the police on you. What's the...
I don't know the answer to that, but they're friendly with me.
And have you guys decided who's going to take custody of the children, or...
That ship sailed. My kids are old enough to have custody of other...
Unlike it, Juanita's sons is actually very famous. For real. It's
football's our stud.
That's really cool, I think.
Yeah. Thank you. He's nice.
It's not cool.
It is. But I hate to do this, but I'm going to go to the bat.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I have to go.
Yeah.
You know, look, once we start, you can't leave. Where are you going? Where are you going right now?
Kyle's got a catheter in.
You can't.
We've been trying to set up drama, Terrell. Can you get through, Chuck? I have a small vase. Okay.
Peter, you should tell more about your son because that is so cool. And you definitely get to practice.
Yeah, well, Chuck's a Aggie, so we'll have a big game against in a couple weeks.
Saturday night of Thanksgiving?
Did it ask? Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you, Erica. We've talked a fair amount about Mike. Yeah, he's better than us too. Yeah.
We still want to borrow his car.
So back to your practice. Where's the website?
RosaSandersLaw.com.
And family law, personal injury, and you mentioned you've been starting to do some more mass tours.
Yeah, so the recent one is relating to Hurricane Beryl. Have you guys seen anything about that? Want to know what y'all think?
Are you doing it on the property damage side?
No, so I hope you guys will think it's good. So you know how Tony Busby's representing a lot of restaurant owners? Mm-hmm. Initially, I was thinking of something. A lot of my friends are in the medical health and wellness space. Like you guys know, my dad, he's a plastic surgeon. He wasn't harmed by it, but I've met people through that industry and a lot of like nurse injectors, medical spas, even OBGYNs, dentists. The list literally goes on to 54 different business owners in that space. And they lost power, some of them for 8 to 10 days, and they lost products and profits as a result of not having their power restored within a reasonable window of time. And the issue is like, how do you measure reasonable? But I decided to look and see what Entergy was doing. That's a different energy company that provides near the Woodlands. Anyway, and so I reached out to Tony and I was like, you know how you're representing restaurants? There's all these other people that need help. And he said he wanted to just stick with restaurants. So I did send him a couple. And in return, different people that were wanting representation from his firm came to me and us, and we signed them up. But now it's kind of in waiting on it to certify MDL status. CenterPoint's hired 13 different attorneys.
Are you on the state court side or the JPML? Federal.
Right now, it's like, so currently we filed it and it was assigned to Judge Mike Englehart's court, but Tony's is in Judge Ursula's court. And then their attorneys for CenterPoint, one of them's Vincent Elkins, and they requested a motion for MDL, but it hasn't been heard yet.
So that's been Suzanne and Godfrey or something like that?
Assessment.
Never heard of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have that for.
I'm going up against them. Yeah.
So they filed a motion with the state multi-district.
So
They filed the same stuff on us and Tony's clients, and our pleadings are very similar. That's why initially I was like, "Hey, do you want to like collab?" But we'll see, like if it goes to MDL. But what do you guys think about it? Like,
It'll
prevailing.
So typically on this, on the state side, typically when they file for an MDL, they'll grant it for the most part. It just depends on where they assign it, and because they can assign you to. They don't have to assign you in Harris County. Like Peter and I actually, before he quit, because he's a quitter, had a case that was in Jefferson County. They filed for MDL, and then it got assigned to Orange County judge, actually, on the other side of Beaumont in Orange. So
Astroworld was all Harris County, and they all stayed with the Harris County judge.
Did you work on the Astroworld?
I didn't work on Astroworld. I was the co-lead on TPC explosion, and I was the co-lead on the ITC fire.
So why didn't you want to take cases with CenterPoint?
I didn't think of it.
Would you be interested?
And And until I have a running thing right now, I'm not getting into any more mass torts until I have money in an account from the first one that I started, which was it was called Bear Hugger. It's 9 years old still.
You'll be waiting for a while.
Debt by this morning actually went extremely well. But yeah, it was stuck up in Minnesota, and then we had a long appeals process, and then it got kicked back down. And there's 7,000 of them, so it's still.
But like, it's not always the best thing to do.
It's just a long play. It's going to be years and years. You're not going to turn it around in 2. You're probably going to turn around probably closer to 5, if not more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the reason behind it is because I didn't appreciate on other people's behalfs, not even my own, the way that Centerpoint was doing things and the fact that they have a monopoly and these business owners are really hardworking. Like my client that's a dentist and he works 7 days a week. They're even open on weekends. It's one of those emergency dental places also. And him and his fiance are both dentists. And these, they decided to office near the airport, not because they had to, just because they wanted to serve an underprivileged community. And it's like, I didn't appreciate the way Centerpoint wasn't prioritizing who they restored power to. And I didn't like their lackadaisical attitude. And so, yeah, and then I saw Tony doing it.
And every single time there's a hurricane, their response is just crappier and crappier.
Well, I was going to say the lieutenant governor went on television immediately thereafter and called for an investigation to figure out why they weren't in a more prepared place when it hit.
So if that is that serious weather, was there weather channel that they're like, we didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was.
That's funny because I saw all the spaghetti strings on that map and they were all coming right at us.
So what do you think about it?
It's an I'd have to look at I don't even know where you would start as far as experts would go. And so it's a little out of my wheelhouse. But
local meteorologists, because we did some like news and media surrounding it, and the local ones were saying they were personally offended because they predicted it, like you were saying, and Centerpoint chose to just go with AccuWeather or whatever their excuses were. But it felt a little bit more than them just not caring. It almost felt like they intentionally wanted to do this. I know that could sound like whatever, but it's hard to believe that they just didn't care. It's like they had to go out of their way not to care. And that's what's upsetting about it.
I got you. And so how many do you represent currently?
54 different business owners, right? Is there more than that?
Like 54, 55. I don't know.
And then what's the damage model? It's from losing business for the 2 weeks or so that they didn't have.
It was not just like loss of profits, but loss of product. Like, for example, if you are familiar with medical spas, like Botox, things like that has to be refrigerated. Semaglutide, trizepatide, even orthopedic surgeons are clients.
Are we familiar with Botox and what they do in days? I mean, look at us.
Peter's the poster child for semaglutide.
What it is?
That's Ozempic?
Yeah. No, I just got some last week. Look at my eyebrows are all up.
No, looking good.
I had no idea.
No, I really did. I realized this is your first time as a med spa, so every once in a while I'm like, hey, I'll get some Botox.
Does it hurt?
I mean, when the needle, for a second, when they shove the needle in your face.
Yeah. It's like acupuncture, except not as fun.
Look, I want to pretend like these guys are on their...
It feels better when after they've injected into your forehead, you just feel flowy and mushing around.
Really? I have to check this out.
Yeah, Botox. So
I lost a lot. All right, check it out. Kyle is a regular. He has a fast pass.
and they didn't have Erica, they didn't have insurance to cover their losses on.
So some of them did, but their business interruption insurance only covered up to $10,000. And if this dentist, that's my client, he and his fiance are both dentists. And I've seen the stuff from their CPA, everything like that. They lost $100,000 to $100,000 with the supplies, with how many people they see. They do everything. They do like veneers, root canals, just about anything under the sun. And a lot of those products, and I'm not as familiar with the dental world, and I'm learning about it as I am with the medical spa world, having worked in it. But, the things that you need to make porcelain veneers, like the actual glue, like all that stuff, it needs to be refrigerated. And so it's the same as the restaurant owners that had to throw out their caviar and like their beef or whatever. It's the same thing with all of our clients that had to throw out their things. That we even have a client that's a florist. Her stuff has to be refrigerated, which most people know about flowers. But yeah, there are some bad faith insurance cases out there, and we haven't gotten into that. A different firm's doing that. But we're really just doing this, trying to hope that it makes an impact. That's why I'm doing the cases. Who knows, right?
Yep. Fingers crossed. Yep. So I guess the question is, to take the other side, what is it that Centerpoint should have done differently? Should they have had more linemen?
I think it's not the quantity of linemen. I think it's where they had them stationed, because I think they were some of them, like they were in San Antonio. I mean, they were hours away, and weren't. I think that big delay is really what set everything off. At least that's what I got from Lieutenant Governor Patrick.
Got it. Yeah, I admit it sounds reliable. Followed the liability theory on that.
Well, they admitted that if they hadn't believed the local meteorologist that it was going to be a hurricane and not just a tropical storm, they normally have the protocol of having their out-of-town linesmen stationed there ahead of time, like stationed here. But they decided not to do that. So the hurricane hit, and they weren't here for 2 more days. And I've even talked to the linesmen that were out and about. And I have experts and things like that I've spoken with that reached out to me.
Well, I was going to ask, what kind of expert on the, getting power restored, what kind of expert is that?
Well, there's energy experts out there, and sometimes they're even alternate energy providers. Yeah, that because of their fields, they have to be experts on all kinds of types of energy. Also, we know some linesmen through different people, and they've gave us some
We have a client that we have a client. He got rear-ended pretty badly, but he works for Centerpoint. The only reason why I know he works Center because he's having problems making it to the doctor because he's working so much from Centerpoint. So he's a good source of information.
I'd call Ed Emmett. He's the former county attorney. I mean, he's in charge of emergency response. I think if he can't serve as the expert, he can definitely tell you who you should probably talk to. And he might be. I know Lena's doing a great job, but he's a very beloved.
Yeah, they're well respected.
Party aside, he works for the county. He did. I don't know what. No, I'm saying he used to. I don't know what he's doing now. That's where I would go because he knows the inner workings of how it all works.
I think he might teach at Rice, but I'm not sure.
That's even better for an expert.
I saw him at the gas station a couple weeks ago.
You know what Ed Emmett looks like?
Yeah.
That's such an odd thing.
Like I said earlier, I know everything. I was pumping gas on Kirby, and my daughter said, "Who is that man combing his hair?" And I said,
"Combing his hair."
It was kind of weird. And I said, "That's Ed Emmett, former county judge." And he had a bunch of Rice.
Then he probably does teach it.
Faculty parking on his stuff.
Oh, okay. You really kind of checked him out.
Ed, we're looking for a sponsor.
Yeah.
How long were you staking out this gas station to see Ed Emmett?
Months. So, law stuff seems like it's going great. Do you guys have any plans to be back in front of the camera anytime soon?
Not me. Unless I'm getting interviewed about a bait verdict, or I'm getting some philanthropy that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And interviewed by the news. I don't plan on going back.
You're done. You're full law.
I mean, until Erica needs me, until Erica gets an awesome opportunity, and I have to just show up and just be husband and just sit there and be quiet.
Yeah, just arm candy. So hey, me and you both.
That's all that's the only involvement I really wanted to have it in. However, if someone calls me and says they want to offer me, $30,000 an episode to do a series, I would do it.
100%.
Yeah. Erica?
It depends, but it would have to be, there's been things that I've been approached with, but it has to be a show that's organic about attorneys and their real lives, not going on a yacht and, being ridiculous, because that isn't real life, that we weren't allowed to bring our children with us. And I'm just tired of things like that because they're growing up so fast. I can't believe they're 6 and 8, and that might sound dramatic to someone that has teenagers, but it really is so crazy that they were just like babies. And it gets emotional. And so I don't really want to spend time away from them. But at the same time, when you are a parent, you're much more careful with what you put out there, because I never thought that people would judge my children based on how I act. Not in the past, but when we went on the below deck.
But on how we were edited to look on a yacht by Enders.
Regardless, they're thriving very much. They go to a private school. They're really happy. They have a lot of friends. They're in kindergarten and 2nd grade. So it sounds funny, but they're both doing well academically. The school is pretty demanding. But I would never want to kind of disrupt their lives at all. And my 8-year-old, when the Below Deck came out, she was not proud of it. And she said we were so embarrassing and we switched schools. But
when did it come out?
I had to go watch this.
2022, man.
It's so children. But people still bring that bring it up because they keep like, I think Bravo's like low on programming or something. I don't know.
Every once in a while, I see this post that says, "Oh my God, I just saw your episode on Below Deck, and oh my God, that's disgusting."
I would hate
About me,
I would
For real though, it's super cringe because
on a picture of me like holding my daughter at her party.
Jesus.
yeah.
And then you look and you want to see who they are. It's like a picture of a doll.
And everyone's like, why didn't you warn him? Well, this was the only time ever that I did not predict an edit. That was not.
Yeah, this doesn't seem like a show that's going to edit hard.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're paying for us to take you on these bicycles. I just want
It
to.
was so weird. And he's a Gemini, so he has 2 different personalities and only one of them came out. That was the deal. So I really didn't expect this horrifying experience. So there was no warning myself or him.
And y'all, it was 48 hours, 2 days?
Yeah, it was
Not even 2 days. It wasn't even less than
really unleashed.
God,
Right,
it
so-
seemed like you're on it for a week.
I'm not like a media maven. I don't really mentor, but I think we should rent a boat. And the 5 of us go out. Sorry, the 7 of us go out.
We should go out and rent a boat. It'd be fun. Maybe.
We rent a boat and like we videotape it. We do like a little YouTube series, reality TV. Now it's gonna get like Kyle and Bill drunk on top of a boat is gonna get dull, but you guys can carry the plot, right?
She's not even that interested.
We could go from like Galveston to Bolivar and Bassett.
You flip. The idea of the show, and Chuck's already told us not to talk about this, is it's supposed to focus on.
That's all we're talking about.
It's supposed to focus on the crew, and y'all just should have been a kind of a sub.
That's why it was so odd, honestly. Like, it's so like you're supposed to get with the whole my love while you're having a fun trip. Literally, we have friends that I'm no longer friends with because of his fighting with them. So it actually is just like very traumatic for my life. One of the friends he decided to fight with is another attorney that we office with. He was like my gay best friend for so many years. No longer friends with him, thanks to this dude. So it actually was like, it actually was like super traumatic. For me,
Love is love, though.
Yeah.
I lost my hairdresser over it. Like, he was fighting with her. Like, everyone's like, why didn't you have her did hairdresser now? Yeah, my haircut. He's really good. But, of course, I didn't predict any of this. It was not normal predictions. Like, he had met Janelle several times. Never fought. Like, he's like kind of lying right now because he really was acting chaotic on her.
It doesn't matter how I was acting. It doesn't matter how I was acting. When you pay $5,000 to go on a crappy boat, you could act the way that you act.
I agree.
Here.
And then $500 for both of us. $5,000, just everybody. $5,000 just to go on the boat.
Okay, but you walked in saying, I'm going to deduct their tips out. Oh, yeah, it's
The W should be, I did, but I didn't think people were going to get that mad.
Look,
show.
You're in international waters. I'm not hearing you say anything that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like Bravo's in the wrong here.
Yeah, so if that's cheap, Kyle is way cheaper.
Okay, so let me ask this question.
people like him. Like, I can tell you guys, like, I think he's funny.
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to come out that way. Like, and he's always like that. But most of the time, people like him. He's never had that experience.
Because I've never been edited who can look at that bad before.
Well, if they do edit you that way, you can see that Bravo now it has something to, has a person they can.
Can I tell you the truth,
I
though?
was reading this like top 10 worst guests on Below Deck, and I said that nobody had to be worse than me. I was like number 5.
But I don't like that it says my name with him because, first of all, like, I went the summer before.
Apparently because it's like Erica liked them to they did on, what's weird about it is they on their own volition when we got on the boat, they offered to hang all of Erica's clothes up and then edited like she's a diva.
They were like, to ban high for you. I was like, okay, but please don't complain about it because they did last year. And then they wanted to complain. And like,
I just want to know why we're not editing this show to make Kyle look worse.
I was just going to say, I understand your issue because I am leaps and bounds the most edited host. Like, they cut it so that it sounds like I'm all kinds of terrible things. And Josh and Amanda can vouch for this, that they cut my stuff all the time. And they sometimes blame it on their mothers or their spouses that I use too much profanity. And I think that's bullshit.
Yeah. So, Erica and Chuck, having gone through that, how does that affect, or does it benefit your legal practice and like how you talk to people, how you talk publicly, how you talk in court?
No. It adds how I acting on a boat, be afforded drunk. Well, pays $5,000 has nothing to do with the way I conduct myself in court.
I take ORSB back. I would have never, when they were like, come back, you came with your friends in 2020 during COVID, fun little girls trip reunion. Everyone had a great time. Like I said, you never hear about those episodes because they were about those texts.
Wait, oh, so they reached out to come there in? Like, yeah.
I know, really, they reached out with me to come back, and he had been like,
And how about those Texans, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking Chuck may want to change.
he wants to change.
Pop it.
But I don't, like, looking back, like, you can never go back in time, but I would never have done it with him.
I wouldn't have gone either.
I would have predicted, but
I would have been 5,000 plus 6,500. I would have been $11,000 richer.
Who is he? 1,000 up full with leg dress. Yeah, we got our own boat. So it was actually fun.
He's on a fancy Rich Carlton cruise for that money.
Yeah, my question is like, yeah, take out the, yeah, yes, take out the below deck thing. I'm just saying, like, for instance, I thought Erica made a good point, which is because you were in the Bachelor, I mean, they kind of,
that was good for my law practice. That's part of the reason I got my job offer at the firm I started with, because this was 2018 when I got licensed in Texas. And because I moved back from LA in 2017 anyway. And so part of the reason I just got job offers and things like that, and I accepted the first one I got, and I just accepted it even before my bar exam results came out, was because of my marketing capabilities, because it was more rare back then. Social media influencing, that kind of stuff wasn't a thing, and now it is. And so those opportunities that opened to me, the Bachelor world, I would not change that. I did that as a single person in my 20s. I personally didn't act a way that I was embarrassed about ever. And my children don't think that I did either.
Have they watched it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sometimes I've showed it to my daughter. Yeah, both of them have watched it. They're actually so proud of me about that kind of stuff. They've come with me to LA. We still got to do a red carpet just last month. And when they said, bring your daughter with you, it was a reality TV event at Sir Restaurant. And it was for this book about Vanderpump Rules. But doing red carpet pictures with her was so cute and so fun. And then she came home and told our other daughter, like, Mommy's like really famous. It's not accurate, but I'm glad that they feel that way and they finally think I'm cool. But like the below deck is embarrassing because they were already in the picture, and it isn't how we've never been like chartering a yacht besides from below deck. So it's just not accurate to real life. You know what I mean? And on like Bachelor and that kind of stuff, I really hate
They don't go like, well, I hate they don't go around charring yachts.
I hope they do.
When you pay that much money
Really sad date.
and you didn't get the freaking liquor that you asked for, this is even more sad. I asked for McAllen
12?
McAllen, not even, no, what's better than 12?
13, 18.
And you know, for $5,000 plus an extra $6,500, I expected McAllen, but they just got like some cheap 12 cast strength.
You know, you're getting one of the Glenn's 10-year on that. Yeah.
Well, it's little things like when you pay that amount of money, you expect them to get your freaking liquor right. So they're gonna keep
You listen up here. You listen to the Eddie Tartering go out there.
But how about the Nation to beat the Cowboys yesterday?
It is. And I might have missed it because that's common for me. Where did y'all go to law school?
I went to University of Houston with
Okay.
I went to the Western Michigan University of Thomas M. Cooley.
what about you guys?
They're in Michigan.
We went to South Texas.
South Texas.
went to Houston, University of Houston.
Yeah, my law school is like the South Texas of Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
So the best law school in
Does it
Michigan?
turn out the best trial lawyers in Michigan?
Yes. Just say yes. There you go.
Okay. Well, how long have we been going? A while.
It's a line.
Probably is. Okay.
Of all time.
Well, very good. Unless my co-host, because y'all have kids at home.
No, Jackson.
I've got a lot more questions, but I think we're going to have to save it for
I want-
Rose Sanders Part 2.
Days are. Because I'm into astrology. See?
August 14th.
You're a Gemini.
I'm a Leo. August 6th. Are you Leo too?
Yep.
Yeah, I do. Bill and I were.
I
Wired.
Scorpio.
I'm March 13th. I'm a Pisces.
You're more of a Cancer to the show.
Thank you, Bill.
Amanda. Got Rizzo, Chuck's Gemini.
Jerry, that's what you got. What do you guys think my sign is? Try to go. Pisces.
Aries.
Yes, because
I was going to say that.
how does you know?
I can feel this about you.
What is the Aries personality?
A fire sign also, but it's the first sign of the zodiac, so it's like a leadership sign. But I have a lot of stuff in Pisces, so that's us. Whoa, all right, as well. And I have a daughter that's a Leo. Our daughter's a Leo. Good luck. And also, I know But actually, Leos are really, I think they're very, my mom's also one, but I think they're very giving, sweet,
If we like you.
and entertaining.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Sometimes.
Not me. Bill's very entertaining.
We should have our signs read.
Okay. Any other topics? This is a bum. Gentlemen, any other topics for the Rose Sanders?
I mean, I have a lot, but I feel like we're not going to get them covered. We're going to have to reschedule and bring you guys back on.
Yeah, for sure.
RoseSandersLawFirm.com. Is that where those Sanders Law?
RoseSandersLaw.com.
Family law,
Personal injury.
and potentially if you got claims related to the barrel storm.
Or if somebody is, or if you wake up tomorrow morning and someone has called you a child molester on Facebook or Instagram, or about a TikTok video.
And they have collectible assets. Yeah.
And if you have any type of cancer that might be related to
We're going to start getting these PFAS cases. And PFAS is like this stuff that's secreted out of the water. Oh yeah, like we secrete. It's like it causes cancer in firefighters. It comes from the foam. Yeah, I start side shows. So God forbid you have cancer.
Hello.
You know, and you want to get paid, and you think it was caused by the AIDS staff, PFAS.
Do you have any screen on this one?
I know. I don't know anything about it.
If you watch,
That was a client, though.
there's a Mark Ruffalo movie called Dark Water about it. It's a cool story. It's about that's actually pretty dang accurate from the science perspective. So in the ITC fire, they dumped more foam in that fire than anybody can find in the history of the foam. More was dumped in that 4-day span. And so I filed a class action on behalf of the first responders that weren't given warning that C6 and C8 were used. And it's currently pulled into South Carolina MDO. That's the whole PFAS MDO's been going for 3 or 4
Yeah, so you guys just something like that. Yeah, science.
All right. Thank you guys so much. This was awesome.
Thanks for joining us. If you like this show, please follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok,
MySpace,
or wherever you find your podcasts. Thanks for joining us, and go see the RoseSandersLaw.com. Eric and Chuck can help you out. Thanks, guys, and we will see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you.